I am going to get started, and I have a video. So today we're making herb salt, and I took a video of myself harvesting the herbs at Golistan. So bear with me. I'm going to figure out how to do the screen share in an efficient way, but let me know if it's not working for you. I'm using a computer at laptop at Golistan, and it's not my laptop, and sometimes it's great, and then randomly I'm having some issues with it. So I'm gonna hit share screen. So you guys should be able to see my screen, and I'm gonna press play on the video. Can you hear me and see it?
We can't see anything.
You see nothing?
No.
Except for me, Massimo, and you.
Okay, you can see me on the screen.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Now you can see it?
Yeah.
What about this? Can you see this?
Yep.
Can you see my face on a video?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna press play. Can you hear it?
Hi friends, it's Julia here, coming to you from the beautiful Golistan garden. And I'm just gonna show you quickly how to pick some herbs for
Uh-oh, now we can't hear the volume.
Oh no, the lemon's dead. Because Julia muted herself, so we can't hear her.
Oh, that's why. Thanks, Dana.
Good job, Dana. Oh, don't put your hand in there.
want your herbs to grow a lot, you want to just not touch them. But actually, one of the best things you can do for your herb plants is to harvest, because it will encourage them to grow more. So I always just look for big, healthy stalks, but making sure that I leave there plenty of space for the plant to continue rooting. So you're just going to trim at the very base of the plant with a sharp pair of scissors, kind of at an angle. I go in.
She's showing us how to cut the
And
rosemary.
I just trim. And then I have one big, beautiful stalk of rosemary. Let's see what else we can find. Okay, I see some beautiful parsley here. Okay, now I'm next to it. This is a parsley plant. And if you can see, the parsley is growing so big that it's actually kind of blocking the sun of the basil. So I'm gonna definitely pick some of this. Let's see if I can prop you up here. Guess not. So again, we're just gonna look for some of these big stalks that are, it's called bolting when they grow up to get really big. And those are good ones to trim away. So I'm gonna trim this big stalk right here. And this big one from the top. And then I'm going to go in at the base and trim a few more of the biggest stalks. Kind of want a lot of parsley in my herb salt. We set you down in the plants. Okay. Sometimes when you pick a stem, you accidentally don't even notice where it went. So it's important to kind of grab it at the base and be intentional about where you pick from. So definitely try to trim some of this parsley away from the basil so that the basil can survive. And we're going to leave the basil alone for now, just because it looks to grow a little bit more before I harvest it. Okay, so moving on, we've got rosemary and we've got parsley. Here's a basil plant that looks a little bit bigger and healthy right here. So maybe I'll just trim a little bit of that for flavor. Basil just a little, because again, picking your plants actually can encourage growth as long as it's got enough for you to pick. And lastly, I think I'm gonna go grab some chives. So walk with me through the garden, and we will go get chives for our beautiful herb salt. It's such a beautiful day. It's kind of hard to believe beautiful days like this even exist. They do, and for that, I am grateful. Okay, so I'm over here. I'm in the tire with the olive tree, and I found this big bunch of chives that look awesome. So I'm gonna harvest some of these, but I have to figure out how to prop you up. Let me see. Maybe I can prop you up over here. Oops. Sorry. There you go. Okay, setting my herbs down here. And so here we have some beautiful bunches of chives. I'm gonna pick these ones that are closest to the light and the tree because I feel like they might be getting a little crowded. And again, just kind of pick at the bottom, but make sure you grab at the base so that you're not just cutting willy-nilly, because what can happen is you can cut and then not realize where you cut and then have pieces of herbs that don't get used. And with chives, sometimes there's a little bit of brown bits, so that I'm just going to kind of toss. And I think now we should have enough herbs. I've got these chives, and then I've got this beautiful stalk of rosemary. A big bunch of parsley, and I have some basil, and this will all be put into our herb salt. I'm gonna go inside and then we'll get cooking.
Okay, so I will put the video away, and the reason I had us, let me see, turn off screen share. Let me find that setting. No. Stop video, new share. How do you unshare? Anyone know how to do that? Stop share. Got it. Awesome. Okay. Lovely. So the reason that I had us pick the herbs from Khorasan is because we're talking this week about community member or like community workers and people in our community that are working really hard right now, and especially grocery store workers, farmers, and delivery people that deliver groceries are working, they deliver groceries, they're working extra hard right now and putting themselves in like a line of risk. So one way that we can help them work a little bit less hard is to grow some of our own food, which I don't do a ton of at my house, but at Khorasan we grow a lot of our own herbs. So these herbs I harvested, as I showed you, in the Khorasan garden. And herbs, this recipe is a great way to preserve herbs because they can go bad really quickly, and by putting them in salt, they'll last longer in your refrigerator than sometimes if they just sit out as is. So did anyone else bring, Massimo, did that rosemary come from your garden, Massimo?
Yes.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. That's awesome. Cool. So today we're going to work on an important skill, kitchen skill, which is mincing. And I'm excited to share that with you. So we'll start by washing our hands and putting on our apron for those of you that are cooking along. So I'm going to wash my hands. That moves back like that.
Can I have some rosemary for my bread?
So, and I'm going to wash my hands for 20 seconds. Anybody want to count to 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. So, and now I'm going to put on my apron. And for today, our mise en place, the things that we need to have in front of us to start cooking, is first the tools we need are a large or a medium to large bowl, a salad spinner for washing your herbs, a knife, a big knife like this to mince my herb salt. So I'm going to walk you through mincing your herb salt with a knife, but if you're at home and you want your kid to get involved, a mortar and pestle can also be a really great way to mash your herbs with your hands. It's easier for kids to use than a knife. Scissors, I use scissors a lot in the kitchen to trim herb stems. And a jar with a lid are the tools I believe that we need. Oh, and a cutting board or surface to cut. And then as far as ingredients, we just need herbs and salt. So I have, as you saw in the video, some rosemary, and I think Massimo has rosemary too. And I also have chives, rosemary and chives, and parsley right here. And a little sprig of basil. So I'm going to use all of those. And if you want to make this recipe, I'm going to make half a cup of salt and use about 2 cups of herbs. But if you have less herbs or you want to make less, then you just want to do the same ratio of 4 parts herbs to 1 part salt. So if you could do 2 tablespoons of salt and then do 1 cup of herbs, or no, 1/4 cup of herbs and 1 cup of herbs and 1/4 cup of salt. Math is hard.
Okay, so we have a half cup of salt, right?
Yeah.
And then a quarter herbs.
No, so you want to do 4 times the amount of herbs of salt.
Oh, 4 times.
Oh,
a lot.
2
Okay.
cups of herbs.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of herbs. So you could also, I brought a lemon too, so you could make almost more of a gremolata kind of thing where you add lemon and garlic too and mince that up with salt, and then that would be a really nice seasoning.
Ooh, that's a nice
one.
one.
Kind of bulk it up with some lemon zest or garlic clove. That would be too.
So we could always use less salt,
Yes.
right, as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Less salt compared to the amount of herbs, but we could start mincing the herbs and then.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think it looks like you're the only one joining along. So if you have any questions, you know who to ask. Okay, so we have all of our tools and all of our ingredients. And so the first thing that we're going to do to make our herb salt is to trim our herbs away from their stocky stalks. So I'm going to use scissors to do that.
Okay.
And you can also just use your hands. Well, I might use my hands for this. So
Rosemary.
I'm going to I'll start with the rosemary since you guys are also using rosemary.
Okay.
And depending on how stocky your rosemary is, you can just use your fingers to kind of pick away the leaves and leave the more woody stems. And sometimes with rosemary, this one's a little bit stocky, but you can just kind of go all the way down the branch and strip it. But I feel like mine might have a little too much.
So sticky.
Strip it like that. And maybe I'll just take out some of the more woody parts.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's kind of oily, sticky, the rosemary.
Yeah, mine is too. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's weird.
Interesting. Maybe it's something to do with the season or like how hot it is outside. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it could be.
So I have my rosemary in my bowl, and I'm gonna start with my other herbs. But since you all are just using rosemary, I'll just do that quickly. But if anyone's gonna watch the recording later, then I'm just gonna use my hands to leave the more.
When you said the lemon, does that go? That doesn't go now though. If you put
No,
lemon.
I'll add lemon to mine too. I'll show you we can zest it. What we're basically gonna do is take the herbs, wash them off, dry them off, mince them up, add salt, add lemon juice, and mince more. Are you using a knife or are you using a mortar and pestle?
Oh, I can do a, yeah, I have one of those.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Whichever one you prefer, it doesn't matter. So, hi Zaina.
I think, yeah, we'll use this because we just saw one episode of the salt, fat, or fat, heat, salts.
Salt, fat, acid, heat with
Yeah. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. Like, it was like,
yeah, that episode where she makes the pesto with the Italian. Yeah, I love that.
So when I saw that we're doing salt with this, I was like, cool.
Yeah, this is something that I do with herbs at home when I have a lot of herbs in my garden and I want to use them for something kind of fun. And again, it preserves them in the refrigerator. It's really similar to an Italian gremolata. Mm-hmm. A gremolata is chopped parsley, lemon, and garlic. Okay. And then you add salt at the end, and that's more of a condiment. So if you want to like stray more on the side of a gremolata, you can reduce the amount of salt and make it more of just like a lemon, garlic, herb mash, and that's also super yummy.
So if we used one sprig of rosemary, should we do two? Because we only did one.
I think you should do two, depending on how much salt you want to make.
Okay, another one.
But if you want to use a quarter cup of salt, I would try to get about a cup of herbs.
Okay, so
like
I'll get one more. It's good for mom.
Like this. And because my other herbs, as you can see in my bowl, are kind of broken up into small pieces, I'm going to take my chives and also cut them into smaller pieces because then everything will be at a similar stage before I start chopping it. Yeah. So I like to just get in there with the scissors.
Do it again. Peel this for me.
And remove any dry bits. And I'm sure that you could use not rosemary stems, but you could use parsley stems in this if you wanted to use parsley stems. They often are very delicious, and I've seen recipes actually that use only herb stems or cilantro stems. So you don't have to remove the stems, but these ones I got at Guadalajara, and they're pretty thick stems. So I feel like my instincts are telling me that I don't necessarily want to eat those stems without cooking them. So I'm going to remove the stems. Okay, so Massimo's picking off his rosemary, and I've got my leaves here. So these herbs came from the Guadalajara garden, and they don't seem very dirty to me. Sandra, do you guys feel like you need to wash your herbs?
I don't think so, because it's just outside. So I think
I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna wash mine either, but I would, if any of you are watching this recording later and you bought them at the store, I would suggest washing them. Or if you see dirt on them, I would suggest definitely washing off the dirt. I'm not gonna wash them because to me, these are organic. They were grown here at Guadalajara. They have been away from, dogs and stuff. And also, so nobody's been peeing on them. And, the more wet the herbs are, you're going to add moisture to your herb salt, which could be a problem. So if you are washing your herbs, then just make sure to dry them really well in a towel. But we're not going to wash them for today. So I have about 2 cups of herbs here. And I'm trying to I wish I could get my face and my knife in the same frame, but which would you rather have, my face or the upfront knife stuff?
That knife's pretty cool.
Okay, so I'll put you more toward the knife, but I'm still here.
No, we're gonna cut it.
So I'm just gonna pile my herbs into the middle of my board and take away. I'm kind of checking for any woody pieces that I might not want in my herb salt. And I'm gonna take my knife. And so Sandra, I would say I would do a quick mince before you do it in the mortar and pestle, just because it's going to be hard to break it down in the mortar and pestle
Okay.
from these big chunks.
Yeah.
So to mince, you're just going to hold the end of your knife. I usually like to grab a big knife, like a chef's knife. This is one of my favorite knives for chopping herbs. So I'm going to hold the end of my big knife.
Okay, let me get
And I'm going to put my other hand on the other end of my big knife. And you can either do kind of like a fist motion or a full hand, but you want to make sure that your hand is really upward and not sloping downward, because that you can, maybe cut yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to rock back and forth. Probably hear it pretty well on your end. You're going to rock back and forth and just kind of run through in all different directions, trying to make clean cuts as you're going. And then it starts to get kind of spread out, and then you can kind of use your hands and the edge of the knife to bring it back together into a bigger pile, and then just do it again a few more times. And I can already smell all these delicious herbs. I'm really excited for this herb salt.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It takes practice, and it definitely takes even pressure, but it's definitely something that slowly and carefully, I think, kids can practice at home. And as I'm doing it, I'm noticing some rosemary is of mine is a little bit too woody. I'm gonna take that out sometimes. So you want to get to a point where your herbs are, chopped enough that you might be willing to sprinkle them onto a dish, but not quite, fully chopped. So I'm going to stop here when I kind of have like a herb confetti. And if you want to, at this point, add lemon, I think that would be delicious. And I'm going to do that to mine. So I'm just right on my board going to zest a whole lemon onto my herbs. And zesting is when you take a little grater like this, and you're removing just the very outer edge of a citrus fruit. And you do that because a lot of really awesome oils, if you've ever noticed, when you peel an orange or when you scratch the surface of a lemon, there's a lot of amazing citrus flavor in there. And zesting is a great way to get some of that flavor out without adding the moisture of the juice. So these lemons came from the tree at my house. I picked them yesterday with our new fruit picker that came in the mail, because there were a bunch of lemons that were so high up I couldn't reach them. So that was really fun. And while I was picking them, I put a tarp down, and all of the lemon blossoms fell into the tarp, and then I saved those lemon blossoms, and I'm going to try to make lemon blossom water. We'll see if it works. I'll let you know. So I now have a zested lemon, and it's on top of my herb pile. And at this point, I'm going to start to add my salt. So I started with about 2 cups of herbs, so I'm going to use this whole thing of salt. I already measured it out. It's 1/2 cup. So I'm going to start with about half of my salt.
Pour half.
And I'm going to start mincing it on my board. The same motion as I was doing before. Just a rocking motion with the even pressure in your hand. One side, and once you kind of have a few you run your knife through that a few times and it's starting to get a little bit mixed, I think if you are switching to a mortar and pestle, this would be a time that you could do that. And because you're not adding oil to it, you want to make sure you have a coarse salt, because otherwise it's going to be difficult to grind in the mortar and pestle because you won't have any texture to really grind it. And depending on the size of your mortar and pestle, you might want to, you might want to not put it all at once. But yours looks really big, Sandra, so you're good to go. Mine's a little bit small, so. And then what I'm going to do is just start mashing and also adding more salt as I'm mashing.
Rosemary kind of hard, right? It's just a hard.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. So it's just, I mean, even if it doesn't get super mixed,
yeah,
you can definitely, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna like, kind of do the same thing that basil will do while it breaks down.
yeah.
Rosemary might be one that would be easier to break down with a knife.
Okay.
But if you guys mash it around in a mortar and pestle, it'll really get the oils going. And then once the oils are going, if you want to like run your knife a few times through it still, you can do that. And
then you put more salt in.
Yes, yep. I would add, I'm just adding my salt a little bit at a time to
Just a little bit.
not like flood my mortar and pestle because I have a small one. But you could probably add.
And then you put, you said lemon juice in it?
I haven't added any lemon juice to mine.
Okay.
I just have the zest. You can add garlic if you want to, and that would be like an extra delicious, kind of garlic, herb, lemon, salt that you could put on vegetables or eggs. But also, just the herbs is delicious too.
Yeah, let's put a garlic sauce. We can cut it.
Yeah, maybe I'll put a garlic too. So let's see. My one on the board is kind of looking. The one on the board is like sprinkly, which is delicious. But the one in the mortar and pestle, you can tell that the herbs are really starting to release their oils and juices. And it smells really delicious. I'm really excited about that.
Here, Masma. Cut it.
I'm going to go grab a garlic clove.
Okay, here. I need you to cut. Oh, Dana.
No, he's gone.
I think we lost Dana.
That's okay. It's just me and you now.
I'm surprised Issa's not here, so I don't know what happened.
Usually he's here at every lesson.
He's here at every
I
lesson.
was kind of thinking on Friday that the stone soup was a little complicated, so then I was like, well, I'll do something really simple, and maybe that will have more, people have the bandwidth to do it at home, but I guess not. I guess simplicity is not the key.
I think at this point it's just the mood.
Yeah.
What the mood of the kids are.
Yeah.
The parents, of course.
Parents, yeah. Okay,
I think Issa, yeah, that's always surprised because we talked about it because I do the morning circle at 9:30 with the kids. Some kids show up.
Yeah.
And he said, I was like, yeah, today we're gonna do salt because I thought today was at 10:30. And he was like, oh, salt. So he knew about it. So I'm not sure what happened. We'll see.
Now I'm adding my garlic and mashing it in the mortar and pestle. And I love, when I'm cooking with kids, I love using mortar and pestles because they're really a fun way to engage with mashing it up.
I know. I'm trying to get Massimo, but he's so like, if you could see his face, he's like leaning to one side. And
yeah, you're tired, huh, Massimo?
He probably knows that I'm his assistant. So he.
Oh yeah. Well, you gotta really get your elbow in there, Massimo.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep, as I'm mashing, it's kind of losing some volume because I'm mashing the herbs down. So I'm gonna add more of the stuff from my cutting board to my mortar and pestle.
Mike's making more bread and he's adding rosemary to it.
Oh, awesome. This would be awesome sprinkled on bread probably too, with a little olive oil. Either before you bake it maybe or after you bake it.
I think the stone soup is good. I sent out the photo to like family members.
Yeah.
And then I told some friends, like neighbors, are like, oh, you should have shared it with us. What's the recipe?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's like the easiest thing, all the vegetables. It's so funny.
Yeah, I was wondering if people, I have like, you know, most of these recipes are kind of coming from my head or random places, and I have them all written down. I wasn't sure if people would want like, you know, me to email the recipe every week so they could have it, or maybe email one document all at once that has all of the cooking recipes.
Yeah, you know, it's a good question because I'm really good about like checking, but I don't know like if other people need more reminders. Like, oh shoot, like I forgot to, you know, oh there's I don't know how.
Yeah,
That would be a good survey, I guess maybe.
that's true.
But then maybe people would lose that email though as well. So who knows?
Good point. Yeah, so right now it's all just documented in the Corona closure
Yeah,
document.
I tend to. I mean, I'm used to it now, so it's easy for me. But I don't. I mean, I keep mine open and then I refresh it. So I don't know how people do it. You know.
I think everyone's trying to.
Yeah, they're just all trying to navigate.
What's yours looking like?
Mine's not that, you know, because it's Rosemary, so it's still looking.
Oh yeah. Mine's like doing mine's kind of like a moist.
Yours is looking good because you had all the. I think Rosemary's a hard. I couldn't even really chop it up. It was hard.
Oh wow. Interesting. Yeah, maybe give it a few more. Maybe once you start chopping it a little bit finer with the knife, it'll start to.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna chop it with the knife a little bit.
There's also a ton of herbs in the Golden Garden if you want to add any. You guys can come here and pick some.
Oh yeah.
And now you have the video that I showed that shows all the places that they are.
I know.
Awesome. Well, mine's done, and I'm gonna take it home and sprinkle it on roast chicken, I think tonight for my.
Yours looks good. Yours looks very basil kind of does. It looks like a basil kind of like a.
It's got some like a pesto kind of.
Looks like a pesto.
But it's a lot more. It's like crunchy with salt. So I don't know. This probably it's more like a little sprinkle you put on eggs or.
Oh, I see.
Something like it wouldn't be like if I just mixed this with pasta, it would probably be too salty. But I guess I could, you know, add some oil to it and try to.
Oh, maybe I could put this like on top of a salmon or something like that.
That would be delicious.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just work with it. Me and Massimo. I'll cut it a little bit smaller and then
keep at it with the
mortar and pestle. Yeah.
And then now I'm gonna add it in the jar with my fingers.
And then you just stuff it back in. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stuff it right back in, and then this needs to be stored in the refrigerator, but it can last a couple of weeks, and it just kind of gets, you know, herby and.
Yeah, we didn't do that much salt, so it should be fine. That's good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think now I'm able to cut it better because I think that it's not as hard now that I smushed it a little bit more.
Softened it up a little bit. It's really full.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, thanks for the one-on-one.
Yeah, thank you. This has been nice. How have you guys been doing?
Oh, we've been doing okay. I mean, for the most part, you're like your own little bubble. You're just in your house all day, you know. Right. And Massimo has really bad allergies, so every time we like step outside, even to the driveway, it's really, or even the backyard, she's just miserable, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like not even fun for him to like go outside, you know, and enjoy the sun. But yesterday we Massimo went to pick up garbage from the streets.
Oh, awesome!
So we live in El Sobrante. I don't know if you know where that is.
I do. Yeah, I like to hike at Wildcat Canyon. So it kind of like spits the Alvarado Park or what's it called?
The Kennedy Grove? No.
Yeah, it's kind of by where. I don't know. I've definitely ended up, one time I went on a hike and then I started in Richmond and then I ended up in El Sobrante accidentally.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because it's all connected. El Sobrante is with Richmond. Yeah. We're on the other side. We're like the end of El Sobrante, so we're close to Orinda. So
okay.
People do a lot of bike like races and stuff. So we live in this like gated community, like 15 homes, like these tract homes. So it's kind of nice because it's like nice paved roads and stuff like that. So you go out of our gate and then it's just the main street and then you hit San Pablo. So we went a little bit down and then we just picked up some trash on the way and then it was fun. And Massimo had his mask on. He was just waving to all the cars.
That
And
sounds fun.
lady, like this lady this older lady, she was in her front yard. She was like, "Oh, he's so excited to see people." And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." He's so happy to be, you know.
I know.
I don't know. It's really funny, but Massimo's pretty friendly though. Anyway, so he likes to wave to people.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, we did that. That's a nice activity. We
we've
did.
been trying to get out and see our, see our neighbors. We see our neighbors from a distance and stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, you know, we'll see how we'll get through it. It's already May, you know, it's already halfway, almost the year's already halfway done. So it's weird.
I know. You're right. It is almost, it's like crazy how quickly that goes.
Right. Anyway.
Mine's all covered with herbs.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna wash my hands and then I'll hang up and leave the call. But thanks for cooking with me.
Okay.
Let me know what you put it on, and I'll see you on Friday for sauerkraut.
Okay. Sounds good. Massimo's gonna hang up. Bye.
See you later. Okay. Hi, friends. I'm gonna hang up now. See you later.